As I said, John MacArthur's been making a stand against COVID-19, all the restrictions put on Grace Community Church, and which, if they were complied to, would end up shutting the church down. Is John MacArthur right in what he's done, or is he wrong in what he's done? He's 100% right in what he's done. Number one, it's not constitutional. To put all the restrictions upon a church, whether in Britain, whether in America, or any other country, is not constitutional. Constitutional concerning the American Constitution, concerning the basic rights in the UK, European rights legislation, and any African country or any other country is basically unconstitutional. Even if there was a plague, you don't have a right to shut down churches. You don't have a right. People have an individual conscience. They're not children. They can assess the situation themselves. They don't need to be told. This wearing a mask, 1 minute they told us don't wear a mask. Fauci said don't wear a mask. World Health Authority said don't wear a mask. Then they changed their mind and said we've got to wear a mask. Have come out and spoke out against all this stuff, but they've been put on witch hunt. At the end of the day, Pastor John MacArthur is right. He is right to disobey the government of California. He is right. There are doctors at Grace Community Church. There are medical staff at Grace Community Church. They are able to assess the situation. They're able to assess what's going on. Yeah? The reality is, you cannot be hypocritical. You cannot allow riots in California, riots in Portland, where there's no social distancing. Wisconsin, there's no social distance. CNN, California governor, or other Democrat governors promoting violence, promoting riots, where there is no social distancing, and at the same time they're putting restrictions on church that they can't meet with unless they obey these certain restrictions, which are draconian and kind of communistic. That's hypocritical. I'm sorry, but it's hypocritical. I saw the president of Ghana today go to a town where there's loads of people there, no social distancing. Because it's a political campaign, it's okay. But churches, they have to come under these draconian rules, even in Ghana. And it's happening all around the world. This is not about COVID-19. If it was about COVID-19, where's the free speech? If it's about COVID-19, why isn't doctors and eminent doctors allowed to speak out? Why is it only a controlled one or two? Fauci. What's all this about Fauci? Why is him? Why aren't other doctors who are eminent in the field allowed to speak out on these issues? Why is COVID-19 is a facade? It's a complete, utter facade. Total 100% hypocrisy. Look at the hypocrisy of these governments. These governments, most of their staff are not wearing masks. The police are not wearing masks. They've only just started the last few weeks, some of the police wearing masks in America and UK, but they weren't wearing masks. Look at the people working in the courts and in media and in the administration in America, the administration in UK. They weren't wearing masks. And now look at the riots that they encouraged in UK. Look at the riots they encouraged in Australia. Look at the riots that they encouraged in America. I mean, these were the far left, CNN, Democrats, the far left in Britain, the far left with compliant by Boris Johnson. Oh, and by the way, Boris Johnson, you are a Judas, by the way. That's a different topic. You're a Judas. You've sold Britain under a bus, but that's another topic. It's complete, utter hypocrisy. And it's a facade. It's a complete, utter joke. This is the biggest political. It's just utter nonsense. It's all nonsense. This is the biggest power grab in history, the biggest economic power grab in world history. That's all it is. This COVID-19, if it was as real as they said, why did they encourage riots? Why is it in Wuhan that there was a pool party a couple of weeks ago with thousands of people in Wuhan? That is where it came from. That is where COVID-19 came from. Yet they've been having pool parties there. The whole thing's a complete farce. It's complete, utter farce. Why are people allowed to have free speech? Why are people's free speech being shut down? Why are we having draconian laws in Australia, Stasi, fascist-style laws, where a guy goes out to just change his bin at night and the police say get in, it's a curfew for COVID-19? For goodness sake, a woman who's pregnant in Australia arrested because she wants to puts a post on Facebook because she wants to speak out against it. Yamin arrested a news reporter because he's reporting on people standing up and speaking out against COVID-19. What planet are people on? This is a farce. Will people wake up that this is a total farce? This is nothing to do with what they're saying. This is to do with their narrative of grabbing power and economies. Why tell people to stay in and not do things? Crash the economies. Who gains from that? Nobody gains from that. How does it help people, young people and children, to stay in month after month after month? Elderly people to stay in month after month, not getting any fresh air, not getting any exercise, not eating. How does that help people? Keeping young people in, not allowed to play football, not allowed to play basketball, not allowed to play netball, children not allowed to play. How is that people? Keeping young people and children in so that they can't study at school. How does it help people? People wearing masks when dust can easily get through your mask. How is it helping people? What it is putting people, it's training people to conform to some kind of false authority. It's training people to live in fear. It's training people to distance themselves from each other so that when there's a world war comes, everybody will be happy to kill each other because we've been told to. All this is a narrative to prepare us for a world war because we put the mask on and we're all separate from each other, so we've dehumanized everybody. So then when we have a world war, everybody's going to be happy killing each other because we've been taught to demonize each other. Because every time we see each other, we've got to separate. We see a mask. That's all it is. Keeping children in month after month and young people in where they can't move, they can't walk, they can't play football, they can't do anything. That's going to make them ill. It's not going to make them better. They're not getting any exercise. Keeping elderly people in is going to make them ill. They need to get out and meet people and socialize and do healthy things, not just sit in like hermits. So John MacArthur's done the right thing. John MacArthur has done the right thing. This is draconian style tactics, Stasi-style communist tactics that governments have grabbed political power and it's they politicized COVID-19. COVID-19 is been politicized by the far left in America trying to stop Trump becoming president so that they can say we'll have 80 million ballot for voting, send the ballots by mail because we can't meet because of COVID-19. We can't go to the bowling booth for COVID-19. Who owns world authority? Who owns the World Health Authority? China. Fauci, who's supposed to be advising, has been in the pocket of China. So what's it all about? There's more to this than meets the eye. This is not about some kind of health problem. Anybody speaks out, they're silenced. The free speech is taken. You write a book on COVID-19, Amazon take it off. What's this all about? This is just madness. It's total, utter madness. And John MacArthur has done the right thing. He's stood up and he's been counted. But everybody else is living in fear. Where everybody else has been brainwashed. This is not real. This is nonsense. This is total, utter nonsense. And the reason it's nonsense, the Democrats in America can't be organizing riots when there's no social distancing, organizing riots, mass riots all across America in an attempt to try and bring down Donald Trump. And they do that, and then at the same time, Joe Biden is wearing a mask. It doesn't go, friends. I'm sorry. And CNN saying, "Oh, it's all a peaceful protest," and at the back of them, there's a fire. The whole city's burning down. CNN telling lies all the time. The media telling lies all the time, and brainwashing everybody. And it's all nonsense. The Ghanaian president today was in a town. He's been wearing a mask on TV. And then we see him in a town and nobody's wearing masks. There's no social distancing. And yet people can't play football in Ghana. People can't do anything in Ghana. And yet the president goes into a town. Hundreds and thousands of people are there. And they've got no mask and there's no social distancing. But because it's a political rally, it's okay. But if you're the church, you can't meet. It's all nonsense. It's lies. We're being fed lies. There are eminent doctors. When I mean eminent doctors, I'm on about people that have won awards, top awards in their countries, and they've spoken out. And then the medical health quangos have taken them to court to try and silence them. These are world-renowned medical staff that are being silenced in America. There are other world-renowned medical staff that have said a different opinion than what's being said. But they've been sidelined by the media. The media doesn't want to give them free airtime. This is a political power grab of the biggest magnitude in world history. It's the biggest power grab in world history. Political power grab and economic power grab. Telling people that they can't do their businesses is going to crash economies, which is going to make people even worse. It's going to make them even more ill. They're going to be wanting to commit suicide. They're going to be wanting to be going homeless because their businesses go bust. Their mortgages go bust. So where's the reason? Where's the sense in it? I tell you where. It's power grab. It's economics. Because who gains from this? The banks. Who gains from this? The billionaires. Who gains from this? People like China, who many of the Western billionaires are in debt to and in league with. Yeah? So John MacArthur's done the right thing. He's done the right thing to stand up to these bullies, and they're using the medical card. Well, I'm sorry, the medical card doesn't trump freedom of religion. It doesn't trump freedom of conscience. It doesn't trump freedom to assemble. You know? It doesn't trump that. So how they've got this in their head, these big politicians and billionaires, how they've got it in their head that they can use the medical card to trump our freedoms, I don't know where they're coming from, because it can't trump our freedoms. It's time to stand up. It's time to make your stand. It's time to get out and say, this is enough. I need to run my business. I need to earn a living. I need to pay my mortgage. So you can stick it. I've got to open my business. I've got to do the work that I need to do to put bread on the table for my family. I've got to worship my Lord and meet on a Sunday and assemble with God's people. And you've got to tell them to stuff it. Because this is nonsense. This is 1984 on steroids. That's all it is. 1984 on steroids. This is a communist takeover, and it's the biggest takeover ever. Australian democracy has been crushed. Australian democracy has been crushed. Democracy has been crushed. British democracy has been crushed. The parliaments don't meet. The politicians don't meet. And while the politicians don't meet, the asylum seekers are flooding in UK. Happy days, innit, for Soros. Happy days for him, innit? Happy days for the globalist. They're laughing all the way to the bank. You got to make a stand, folks. Wake up. BLM is part of all this. BMM and all these riots and all that is part of the strategy to destroy nationalists, to destroy the church, to destroy the people of God, to set up a new world order, a globalist world order, where you got to wear a mask. If you don't take the vaccine, you're not going to be able to get a job. If you don't take the vaccine, you're not be able to go and have a bank account. If you don't take the vaccine, then, I'm sorry, you're a pariah in society, and you'll be, what they term it now, cancelled. That's all it is. All it is, folks. You got to wake up. You got to wake up and make a stand. You got to fight now and take back your freedom. You got to demand science. If they want to talk about science, demand the science. Say, okay, give me the science. And when they give you the science, you give them the science and say, no. Sorry, this is science, is it? Yeah, here's the statistics. Look at the statistics. And give it them properly. You need to hold your politicians to account. You need to hold the police to account. You need to hold the judges to account. You need to hold the social media networks account, like Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. They've all got to be made accountable, because they think they can do what they want. They think they can make up the rules and tell us to do this and do that, and yet they're the ones that break the rules. They're the ones that say wear a mask, but they're not wearing masks. They're the ones that say you got to do social distancing, yet they're promoting riots throughout the Western civilization. So got to wake up, folks. You've got to wake up. This is the new world. This is the end times. This is the end times, folks. This is the battle of our lives. Put those spiritual weapons on. Ephesians chapter 6. You've got to wake up. This is it. This is it, folks. This is the real deal. This is the nightmare that we've all dreaded. Whether you're an atheist, whether you're a liberal, whether you're a Christian, this is the 1984 nightmare that was predicted in the novel Animal Farm. This is the nightmare that's come upon us. And now we're in that nightmare. We're in the biggest nightmare we could have ever dreamed. So we got to wake up out of the nightmare, and we got to fight back and take back our freedom before it's even too late, before we're shackled, before we're put in. You know what will happen? Those who don't take the vaccine, those who don't agree with all this mass stuff, will be put in mental hospitals. They'll say, oh, you're mentally ill, you go in there. That's what's going to happen with us. Every single one, every single normal, rational human being that does not agree with this nonsense and says, well, I want my constitutional rights, they're going to say, put him in the hospital, he's mentally ill, or she's mentally ill. That's what they're going to do. And who's going to protect us? The woke police, the police brigades that have been woked and anesthetized by wokeness. Are they going to help us? Or the judges that are so far left, they don't know how far left they are anymore? Who's going to save us? The media, who are so corrupt and fake, they're more fake than the fakeness. Who's going to help us? Nobody's going to help us. It's time that we helped ourselves. It's time we spoke out, and it's time we put our foot down and said enough's enough. Enough is enough. This is absolute nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And don't bully us with your medical nonsense and your medical, it's all medical, it's all twaddle, it's all diddly squat in your politicization. That's all it is. It's absolute nonsense. You've put billions, if not tens of millions of old people in fear. You've probably killed tens of millions of old people because they're full of fear. Because they've stayed in, they've not had any exercise, they've not met anybody. So you probably killed tens of millions of old people through this nonsense anyway. Forget your Covid-19. And what about children? The damage that's done to children staying in for a whole year, not being able to do exercise, not being able to meet people. And the damage it's done to young people, the damage it's done to businesses. You've wrecked people's lives. And not only that, you not only put curfew on people, then you inspire riots. You inspire the Bury, where the riots are going on. I mean, you couldn't make this up. So it's time to say, put a line in the sand and end this, folks. It's time that we ended it, and we can end it right now. And that's speaking out and calling them out and bringing to account. Take your local council to court. Take the government to court and hold them to the laws that we have in the UK, the laws that we have in Europe, the laws that we have in America. There is a constitution in America. Take them to court and stand on the Constitution and hold these politicians to account. Go after Soros, go after the Democrats, go after them and take them to court. And give them the fight of their lives, because they think that they're taking the mick. They're taking the mick, folks. They're taking the mick. They're laughing. They're sitting at home. They're enjoying their life. They're enjoying what they're doing. And yet at the same time, you can't do your business. You can't open your salon. You can't open whatever business you've got. And yet these people are living the life of luxury, and they're enjoying life, and they ain't wearing no mask when they're on holiday. They ain't wearing no mask when they're doing their work. But and yet behind the scenes, that's what they're doing, and yet you can't run your business, and you're dying a death at home because you can't pay your mortgage, you can't pay your business, your kids aren't going out and enjoying life, your youth aren't going out enjoying life, and it's absolute nonsense, and it's got to stop. This is the wickedest thing that has happened to the world and the Western civilization and the world. This absolute nonsense. Social media, Facebook. You've got to bring a war on them. You've got to bring a war on YouTube. You've got to bring a war on Twitter. And their ban that they have, that you can't take them to court, the sooner we get rid of that and we can take these people to court, the better. The sooner YouTube, Facebook and Twitter are sued by the general public and that they realize that they can't do what they want, the better. Okay, so what's my thinking? My thinking is John MacArthur is a good man, he's a godly man, and he's done the right thing. He's done the right thing. He's done the absolute right thing. People have a right to assemble and worship. And all this rant that I've said, I'm just telling you that this is total, utter nonsense. Don't tell me that it's COVID-19 when you as the Democrats in America have inspired riots. When you have inspired it across the whole hemisphere, when we've had BLM in UK, BLM in Australia, BLM here, BLM there, kicking off, rioting, no social distancing, no mask, and you've inspired it, and you've encouraged it, and yet at the same time, these same politicians, smarmy politicians, getting billions from China and all the rest of it, they're the ones that have inspired it, and yet they're the ones that tell us, oh, COVID-19, social distance, and all the rest of it. This is nonsense, folk. This is a power grab of the greatest magnitude and political magnitude, and it has to stop. And the only way to stop it is that people put a line in the sand and say, enough is enough. Yeah? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We're not having it anymore. This is just ridiculous. Yeah? This is ridiculous. Yeah? We're not on about the plague. We're not on about the plague or AIDS or whatever, or Ebola or whatever it is. This is COVID-19. Yeah, it's COVID-19. Yeah, it's taking mainly the elderly out. It's not taking the vast majority of people out. All right? This is an absolute travesty. It's hypocritical. The media are absolute savages, lusting for power, lusting for self-gratification and glorification. They are the most irresponsible, debauched people on the planet. The politicians are the most debauched people on the planet. They are hungry for money, they are hungry for power, and they have grabbed it with both hands. Look at what they've done to Australia. Australia has been decimated by this power grab. They can't even go to the toilet without the permission of the government. That's how bad it is. It's ridiculous. And things have got to stop. It's only going to stop if the people rise up. The people have got to rise up. You got to rise up. You got to make your stand. Forget the fear. Stop living in the fear. Everybody's living in fear. Stop living in fear and live your life. Live your life and stop living in fear. Walking around in fear. If it was so bad, why is it politicians, major politicians, the ones who have been going on and on and on and on and on, you must social distance, and they in public wear their masks. These are the high priest of this COVID-19 communist brigade, yeah? The same ones. We catch them on a different day with people around there with no mask and no social distancing. So they contradict themselves. Why is it? So you shouldn't live in fear. If they were consistent, we wouldn't be able to catch them out. They'd be consistent. How many of Facebook staff are wearing a mask right now and doing social distance? How many at YouTube? How many at Twitter? Yeah? Take secret cameras in and film them and see what's happening to them. Yeah? Because all this is total nonsense. The people who are enjoying this are the banks, the billionaires, the globalists. They're enjoying it. Wonderful. This is manna from heaven for them. And the enemy, Satan, is laughing all the way because he's trying to stop the church from meeting. He's trying to stop the church from worshiping. He's trying to stop the church from doing what it's meant to do. That's all it is. Why is it they say the church can't meet? The church can't do what it's doing, and yet in Wuhan there was a pool party a few weeks ago, and thousands of people, no social distancing whatsoever in Wuhan, where COVID-19 is coming from. The enemy's having a laugh at us, folks. The enemy's laughing all the way. This is the biggest power, political power and economic grab in history, and you need to wake up. This is nothing to do with medical issue. This is about politics. This is no accident. When Trump was to be coming to election in November, 6 months before, 7 months before, COVID-19 breaks out. BLM break out. Why? This is to bring Trump down, because he's a thorn in the flesh of all the wickedness that wants to bring globalization and to control us all. He is the last man standing when it comes to our freedom. And all this is to bring him down. All this is to try and bring him down. And while they're trying to bring him down, they thought, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll close the churches down. And that's what they've done. Both right across the world. That's what they've done. And the church has fallen for it, because the church wants to be obedient to the state. Christians have fallen for it, tried to obey. But in the end, we've given our rights up. We've given our freedoms up. And in the end, we answer to God. Yeah, we answer to God and not to the state. And as men of God and as people of God, the Bible tells us we're to meet. The Bible tells us we're to have our Bibles. The Bible tells no state can say we can't do this, we can't do that. It's all nonsense. Total, utter nonsense. The world's gone mad. These far left governments are off their rocker. And it's time we put them in their place. Put them right where they need to be put. Right in their place. They need to be told, you ain't doing it no more. So John MacArthur is 100% right. The man is a man of valor, he's a man of honor, and a few years' time, we'll look back and we'll say, it was only few of him like him stood, but he was right to stand. This is communist takeover, folks. We have been taken over. Democracies have fallen globally. The Chinese people, leaders, they're giggling and falling over laughter. This is manna from heaven for them. The billionaires, it's manna from heaven from them. They're laughing and laughing at everybody. While you are suffering, while your business is falling apart, while you can't pay your mortgage, while you can't worship your God and meet at your church, they are laughing their heads off. They are enjoying, and they're having a life of Riley. They're enjoying their lives. They're getting on with their lives because it's all falling nicely into place and everybody's nicely doing what to do. And then in the end, there's going to be a world war. And in that world war, we'll all be killing each other because they taught us to do social distance from each other. They taught us to treat each other as not human, because when I saw you and you saw me, we had a mask on. And they prepared the way for a global war. And what's the global war? To destroy humanity and bring the population down so they can now live in their great globalized village where they control it with the few people that they want. That is where you go out on the street and you do a protest with no mask and no social distance, and you will get arrested. Yeah? See the hypocrisy? It's all hypocrisy, folks. So please, wake up. Realize that this is making you worse. Your health is deteriorating. Your business is deteriorating. You're deteriorating. This is not right. Yeah? You need to go for a walk. You need to meet people. You need to have a life. Yeah? So just realize John MacArthur has done the right thing. And secondly, the church has a right to make its stand. The church has a right to speak out. So you not only have a right individually to meet, you also have a right as a church to speak out and to speak your conscience as a church and not to be silenced by the government. Medical issues do not trump conscience. They do not trump freedom of religion. Yeah? They do not trump freedom of speech. All right? Medical issues come under freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience. Yeah? So all this stopping free speech, stopping doctors from speaking out, silencing books that have been written on this COVID-19 is all wrong, right? And it's proof that what I'm saying is right. If what I am saying is wrong, if what I'm saying is wrong, and it's all a load of nonsense, what I'm saying is wrong, let me ask you something. Why? Why was there a pool party at Wuhan 2 weeks ago with thousands of people with no social distancing? If I am wrong, why is it that Bill Gates wants to do a world global vaccine? The same Bill Gates who was in India, who was in charge of the medical polio research and made it worse, and the Indian government had to kick him out. Why is it that he wants to do a global vaccine? If I'm wrong, tell me why he wants to do a global vaccine for COVID-19. Tell me, if I'm wrong, why is it that Fauci was involved in the research and the labs at Wuhan? Explain that to me if I'm wrong. Explain to me that the World Health Authority that has been telling us that we have to do this and that is controlled by China. Tell me, why is that? China who let it out? China controls the narrative concerning how we deal with this. If I'm wrong, tell me why. Tell me if I'm wrong. Why is it when at the height of COVID-19 in Canada there was no checking of anybody from China coming to the airport whether they had COVID-19 or not? Tell me why that was the case. Tell me when it broke out there was no checking at the airport in Britain. Tell me why the asylum seekers that are coming into the UK recently, how come they're not being told to do social distance and wear masks? Tell me that. Tell me why BLM can organize riot and the police, the politicians are okay with it, and there was no social distancing and there was no masks. Explain that to me. If I'm wrong, explain it to me. I'd like to be educated. I'd like maybe prove wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all this is a real medical issue. Could you explain to me? I don't think you can. Explain to me the logic of closing down businesses globally. Explain to me the logic of that. What is the logic of shutting down everybody's business? Say, every business shut down. What on earth is the logic to that? Could you explain it to me, please? Those who are saying what I'm saying is a load of nonsense. Could you explain to me, please, why anybody who writes a book on COVID-19, Amazon takes it off? Could you explain to me, please, and international awards who have come together and spoken out against this draconian shutdown? Could you explain to me why they have been taken to Quango medical courts to be silenced? Could you explain to me that, please? If you can explain all those things to me, then I will recant and say I was wrong. What I've said. What I said was out of order. It was crazy. It was loopy. It was daft. I'm sorry. Forgive me. But if you can't explain it, then maybe I'm right and you're wrong. Explain the logic. Just explain to me how a man late at night goes out to change his bin. His bin in Australia. And the police turn up, 2 police officers. Tell him to get back in his house. because there's a curfew, a lockdown because of COVID-19. Could you explain the logic to me? Why would you want to tell a guy who's just getting his bin ready to be changed by the bin man, and the police come and tell him to get back in his house? Can you explain the logic to me to that, please? Could you explain it? I would really like to be educated by you magnificent scientific far lefties. Explain it to me. Could you explain it to me that it wasn't timed, that we have Donald Trump's election, President Donald Trump's election, we have the Democrats and Republicans election in November? Could you explain to me that it wasn't premeditated, all this, that it was just an accident, that COVID-19 and the BLM, it was all an accident, that it wasn't premeditated? Could you give me the evidence for that? That could you show me that it was just an accident? Yeah. Could you explain to me why Fauci was involved in research at Wuhan? Can you explain to me this? That it was not premeditated, it was not controlled, it was not preparing the ground to bring down Donald Trump. Could you give me the evidence for that? Can you give me the evidence? Can you explain to me why the virus, the COVID-19 virus, in the genetics, why they were doing research at COVID-19 concerning diseases at Wuhan, how they could manufacture these kind of viruses, and that there are man-made viruses and there are natural viruses. Could you explain to me that this COVID-19, when you do the genetic research and look into it, why it seems to be a manufactured virus by men? And could you explain that it's not a manufactured virus? Could you give me the data, the evidence to show that this virus is not a manufactured virus? Can you give me the data for that? And if it is a manufactured virus, could you explain why it is a manufactured virus? And who manufactured it in China, in Wuhan, if it is? And why did they manufacture it? And why did they let it out? And if it's not a manufactured virus, could you explain the evidence and the data to prove that it was not manufactured? Because the structure of the virus seems to be that it could be a manufactured virus. Could you explain all these things? Why is it that the media and Amazon and YouTube and Facebook and all these multimedia people, could you explain to me? Just explain. I'd love to be educated. Why are they stopping free speech on this? Why anybody speaks out, they're silenced? Why is it that the Australian police arrested a woman who was pregnant in front of her kids because she put a post on Facebook that she was going to organize a meeting in order to protest against the lockdowns? And she was arrested for it. Could you? Please, I mean, if anybody wants to educate me, explain it. Just explain these questions. Show us, prove to us we're wrong. Prove to me I'm wrong. Answer all these questions. Put all the data down here. And if you do, in the next few days, I will make a video and I will apologize and I will say, I'm sorry, everybody, I was wrong. I will apologize and say that I'm wrong. But if nobody can answer those questions, then those questions are true, what I'm saying. They expose this for the nonsense that it is. If you can't answer those questions, just put the data of all the questions that I put down there. So just put all the data down. Answer all my questions. And if I am wrong, please show me. And I'll confess. And I'll say, I'm sorry to everybody. I apologize. It was reckless what I said, etc. But if you don't put the evidence, data, under here for the question that I ask, you have been brainwashed and you are living in fear. So the guy, Natala Zos, or whatever his name is, just put the data and the evidence. That's all I'm asking. Don't start arguing with people. Just answer my questions. If you can't answer my questions, it's done. You're finished. It's over. The debate's over. You're gone. Give us the data. Mr. Kish is saying, Natalie, give us the data. No data, no winner. No data. No, don't give us the links. Put your argument and evidence. Links, you can just do links and get out of it. No, give your argument. Give your data. No data, no winner. No data, no winner. You don't give no data, you don't win. Give the data. Give us the data. Give us the data. I'm asking anybody, give us the data. Give me the data that the Wuhan virus was not manufactured, man-made. Give me the data, because all the data proves it was actually manufactured. Give us the data of that China does not the data. Give us the data that the mask shows us that it protects us from COVID-19. Give us the data. You see how he's trying to get out of it? Natalie says, I can't give you the data unless I give you the links. So he could give a link of some article that is so complex nobody understands it. Just write it down. Write your data down. Give us your arguments. No data, no winner. Give us the data. YouTube, give me the data. Facebook, give me the data. Doctors, give me the data. Give me the data. You see, there's no data. Nobody's giving any data. So every question that I ask is true. No data, no winner. No data, no winner. So, folks, give me the data. That's all I'm asking. Show me I'm wrong. And explain to me, just explain to me why throughout the whole Western Hemisphere there have been riots been allowed. Just explain to me, please explain to me how there can be riots allowed. The Democrats and the far left encouraging riots throughout the Western Hemisphere. No social distancing, no mass. Explain to me, they've allowed that, but yet they say churches have to do social distancing, and even some places you can't meet in church. Just explain to me the logic of that, if you can. So you've not given any data, and you can't explain some basic questions. Explain to me why eminent doctors, people who've won renowned awards, why they're being taken to court because they've spoken out against COVID-19. People who are eminent doctors. Explain to me. Please explain. You see, the far left can't explain anything. These wokies and Twitterarties and all the rest of them can't explain nothing. I tell you why, because this is a dream come true for you lot. This is controlling everybody else to your hateful narrative. And it's a narrative where you want your little globalization, and you want to shut down the churches, shut down the economies, and bring in your socialist, communist utopia. That's all it is. That's all it is. And you're loving every minute of it, you far lefties. Wear your mask. Put your mask on. Put your mask on. Social distance. Don't meet in your churches unless you do this. Unless you wipe your mouth and you wipe this and you wipe that and you do this and you do that. Ooh, we've got them now, haven't we? This COVID-19 was a dream come true. Oh, don't go out and do your business. Keep your business at home. Let those businesses crash. Oh, we're enjoying this. And all you politicians, you're enjoying the little power grab that you've done, aren't you? You can't even put your bin out without permission of us. That's in Australia. You can't even meet in your churches properly. That's in California. You can't even meet your family unless we say. That's in the UK. We're enjoying it as politicians and far lefties. It's the reality. This is the biggest political power grab, and economic power grab in global history, world history. This is bigger than the Roman Empire. It's bigger than the Persian Empire. It's bigger than the Alexandrian, Napoleon, the Nazi Empire, the British Empire. This is a global grab of power like that we've never seen before. Democracy's fallen. Democracy's been destroyed. It's been crushed in Australia, crushed in Britain, crushed in Europe, crushed in Africa. It's been crushed. Democracy's been crushed. It's mob rule everywhere. And cotton-picking politicians that are picking the bones of everybody. Like piranhas picking our bones. Watching our companies collapse, our mortgages collapse, and all the rest of it. No compassion whatsoever. And then they sit there and saying, we're trying to protect you from COVID-19 when your business has just crashed and you had to lay off a load of people and you can't pay your bills and your family's scratching around trying to get food for yourself. This is in UK, this is in America, this is all over Europe, this is everywhere. Follow the sources. Yeah, he says follow the sources. Well, it would be good to follow the sources if Amazon won't keep taking the sources down, won't keep shutting up the eminent physicians that are speaking out. We'd love to follow the sources. What about the reports that's been done on medication for COVID-19 that have been taken off the internet? What about those sources? What about those papers that have been taken off the internet by Google, which lead you to know that there are cures for COVID-19? What about those sources? Whose sources are we going to? But what about the basic arguments? Explain to me. Just explain to me how the Democrats can encourage riots. And yet at the same time, in those riots, there is no masks. There is no masks, no social distancing. And yet they tell churches, you got to wear masks, you got to do social distance, or you can't open. Natalie, give me a source to prove that the Wuhan virus, COVID-19, was not man-made. And let us read some of the books that have come out to prove that it's man-made, that have been taken down by Amazon. Let us get hold of those books and read the research that was done to prove that COVID-19 was manufactured, man-made. I'd like to read those books, but Amazon have taken them down. Natalie says, link me. Go to the... what's his name? The American street preacher. Gareth will know. Gareth, if you could remember that street preacher who wrote the book on COVID-19. Gareth will come up later and he'll put the link there. There's a street preacher who wrote a book on COVID-19. He spent a good few months researching it. He wrote a big, thick book on it. And he was taken down. World Meter. The World Meter? Who runs the World Meter? Is it the World Health Authority? It's all manufactured. Well, just give us the arguments. Give us the evidence. You can't put anything down, can you? Okay, folks, I'm going to go. John MacArthur was right to do what he did. I don't see anybody giving any evidence. I don't see anybody giving any data. I don't see anybody counteracting my arguments. Explain to me why there were riots encouraged by the far left. At the same time, the far left saying wear masks doesn't make any sense. The person here says go to the word meter. We'll go to the word meter. No problem. You can get me on Facebook, Asian T. Get me on Facebook and then message me from there. We could talk on Messenger or on Mr. Risk says word meter is full of lies. I take his word for it, Mr. Risk. I respect him, what he says. The word meter, who runs the word meter? Is it the World Health Authority? That's run by China. Who runs this meter? John MacArthur. Oh, the who? Mr. Kish. Well done, bro. The who. The who. The who control it. The who with the do. The who with the do control it. That says it all. That says it all. That says it all, doesn't it? That says it all. I mean, would you trust the rapist to look after your children? Would you trust the WHO to look after your statistics on World Health Authority on health? No, you wouldn't. Would you trust Harold Shipman, Jack the Ripper to look after your babies? Huh? If you trust the WHO, you need your head tested. The World Health Authority. I won't trust them. I won't trust them if you paid me. They're run by China. So you can see. You can see, can't you? You can see. Have you noticed? Not one person who's into all this COVID-19 and believes in it, not one person is able to give us evidence and arguments. Not one. Proving that this is also about reason and evidence, and they can't provide their arguments and their evidence. So we're right in what we're saying. Unless they come on now and they start giving us data and data and data. I want my data. Put some data on with some nice cream sauce evidence and some nice potato mathematical data and some peas of extra statistics and carrots of medical evidence. Give me a nice meal of data. I don't see no data. You put the links on. You put your links on if you want to put your links on. I'll call your bluff. We'll go and check your links out. You've just given us one link, which was a load of nonsense. You're given no data. You're given no links. You're living in a fantasy land. You're living in conspiracy theories. We're living on facts. We're living on data. We're living on evidence. Everything that I've said is rational and reasonable. My channel doesn't allow links. Well, just write. Well, I don't know if it does or not. Someone try and put a link on, see if that's true what he says. Well, you can write down the website. In my channel, I can't. That's because of you. You're one of them militant atheists from years back. You want to just go back to where you came from. I'm not into that, so go away. Asian T, is there another way of contacting me? WhatsApp. WhatsApp. Have you got WhatsApp? Okay. Well, if you give me your number, I'll put you on WhatsApp sometime. My wife will put you on my WhatsApp. That's it. No data. No data from these people. Because what it's all about is it's a power grab for power, and there's no rationalism in it. There's no rationalization. Well, whatever you are, bro, you ain't got no data. No data, no winner. No data, no winner. No data, no winner. All right, got to go, folks. John MacArthur's done right. So God bless you, folks. Take care. Got to go. Take care. Love to everybody. Goodbye. Take care, Mr. Kish and Asian T and other folks, Texas receptors. God bless you, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. And I meant every word what I said on this stream. I really believe that this is a load of nonsense. I believe that this is yeah, if you go to my website, Asian T, it's still up. It's going to go down in November. So if you could just send a message there on my website, I'll still get it. Well, Natalie, you said you are wrong, Jabo. Well, give us the data. No data, no winner. Give us the data. Give me the data and I will apologize. Give me the data. I will get down on my knees and I will say sorry. But you ain't giving no data. All right. God bless you, folks. Have a lovely time. I was just standing up for John MacArthur. John MacArthur's done right in what he's done. And everybody should stand up against this nonsense. It's all a load of nonsense. Well, just write down what the data is then. Just put a little bit of information there. Do a bit of cut and paste. Just cut and paste the data and then put it on there, and then people can read it, can't they, bro? People can do that. You can put a message there, so you can cut and paste and put it on. What's wrong with you, bro? Have you got Covid19? Eh? Have you got Covid19 and you can't do anything? No data, no winner. That's the end of Covid-19. That should be our mantra. Everybody should say no data, no winner. All right, God bless you. Love to everyone out there. Take care. God bless you. And God bless John MacArthur. You've done the right thing, brother. At the end of the day, our conscience is captured to the word of God. So God bless you all. God bless everybody. And take care. And I'll be preaching tomorrow. It'll be live stream, so you'll be able to see it from about 10 o'clock UK time. God bless you, folks. God bless you, Texas receptors. God bless you, Bob. God bless you, Mr. Risk. God bless you, everybody. Take care. No data, no winner. God bless you, folks.